Hey guys, it's Brock Bowen, aka the Life Terrian, aka Mr. Momentum, aka I'm having the best day ever. I'm here with a beautiful friend of mine, Jeremy Goldberg. He's got a movement he calls Long Distance Love Bombs. He's done a TED Talk. He's just an inspiring man, someone that I got a lot of love for, you know, and he feels like one of the Dolphins, one of the tribe, one of the family. And so it's an honor to bring him onto the Life Terrian YouTube show today, whatever we call it, Momentum Monday Conversations. So yeah, tell me a bit about yourself, man. What's going on?
What's happening, Brock? I'm glad to be here, man. You crack me up, man. Your energy is infectious. What's going on with me? I'm trying to finish my PhD. So I'm a full-time student studying at Townsville.
Yeah, wow.
And trying to save the Great Barrier Reef. Yeah, man, it keeps me busy and stressed, but also very rewarding. And so in my spare time, I have a movement or a blog that I call Long Distance Love Bombs. And the idea behind that is just trying to make kindness cool, trying to spread some empathy in the world, trying to spread some positivity, some encouragement, some inspiration. And just trying to like form a tribe of people that get it, you know, that get it, that we're all together, that everybody's struggling, that we can help each other, that we can do more, give more.
Yeah, I like that.
That's the gist, man.
It's probably why we get on so well, brother. Justin, if you're watching the replay right now, I'm just gonna let you know this. Justin, this is the man that you got your cool beer coaster from. It says, I'm fucking lucky. Tell me about that. Like you've got, with your brand, with the movement, you got a lot of cool stuff there. And just some statements. Like a lot of people don't like to swear on things and they think that's not love and light if you're swearing, but you've got a lot of, like, it's not crass.
No, I say it's bad words for good. I'm trying to use bad words for good. So part of my aim is to be as authentic as possible. I want to use my own voice, and so I want to write the things that I want to read, you know. And so in that way, I hope that if I can write as originally and as authentically as possible, then those words will connect with other people. And the way that I do that often is just by speaking my truth, like speaking honestly. And I cuss a lot. Like I think sometimes that there is no better word than fuck. Like. And you know, I get that some people don't like the profanity. I understand that. I'm not for everybody, but part of me takes that hate as a compliment. You know, I believe that hatred is a badge of honor. You know, and that
hatred is a badge of honor. I like that.
Yeah, man. It's like one of my resolutions for this year was to attract more haters.
I like that.
You know? I believe that people don't hate things that don't matter. Do you know what I mean? If you're insignificant, you don't have haters. If you're creating a ruckus, if you're making people feel something, if you're making a difference, then you're going to draw attention. And part of that attention is going to be animosity or dislike. And so for me, like when I get rude comments, when I get messages from people saying they hate my stuff, that they don't like my articles, I'm just like, yes.
Boom. Yes. Thank you.
I'm getting through, man. Like I just use that as fuel for the fire, you know?
Yeah, I just dig that because a lot of people are worried about having a public face because of the criticism. And it's nice. You've welcomed it. You're like, I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Exactly, man.
Like that, or is that a new thing?
No, it's just part of the evolution, I suppose. You know, I mean, there's a lot, like being in a public space, you know, especially with a social media following that's getting bigger and bigger. Like part of that growth is stepping into yourself. If you want to be authentic, if you want to be a creator who's being original and being yourself, then part of that is owning yourself, you know? And so it just comes, it's part of the artistic process. If you're going to create something, you're going to draw feelings from people, and you're not going to be for everybody, you know, like even like there's people that don't like Beethoven. There's people that don't like, you know, Picasso, and those are like the greatest artists of all time. And so like, if they have haters, then like, who am I, this small little writer from Northeast Australia? Like, who am I to suspect that I'll be able to please everyone, you know?
Yeah. I like that. So say just for a second, we'll think about your vision as world-class, next level, infinite.
Yeah.
And you want to have the biggest impact possible. I love people to share with me their dreams because when you share your dreams with me, they seem to blossom. Seems to be a bit of my mission, my purpose. And I'm always curious, man. Like just say all of a sudden you had the limelight, you had 7 billion eyes on you right now and you wanted to share something with everyone. What would you like to share? It's funny perspective.
Yeah, man, that's a huge question. I think just I get really frustrated with society. I get really fed up with culture. I don't like this modern materialistic culture whereby we're all connected but we're not, and we're all sort of scared to be honest, and there's inauthenticity pervades, you know what I mean? So like I guess I'm all about craving honesty in the world, and part of that honesty and that truth to me is about recognizing that we're all inherently connected, you know, like we're all like spiritual beings having a human experience, that we all struggle, that we all lost, we have fears and failures and heartache, and that like that brings us together, you know what I mean? Like all this stuff about fashion and skin color and all this shit is just mind-boggling to me. So I guess my message would be like, look, just help each other out. Like, just be kind. Just be cool. Like one of my friends wrote today, you know, just be a rad human being. And to me, that radness is sort of like, be empathetic, you know, be real, be honest, be love, I guess.
I like that.
Yeah.
Do you know Daniel Eiserman, one of the guys I interviewed recently? He's from Raw Bras. They're like this online group. They started as part of the raw food movement. And they did a whole lot of cool stuff around the world. And one of their things is radical honesty. So they'll sit there, say they're having a conversation together and like, you know what, I'm feeling a bit insecure right now because you're blah, 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 this, and this. They just be that real. And they do retreats around it. And they're so liberated. Like it's an interesting one to come from. Just being that perspective. Instead of like, how's your day? Not bad. Like that culture. Fine. Fine.
Good. Fine.
Blah.
Yeah, I think it's like vanilla toast to me. It's like it's gray. It's just like blah. It's whatever. It's indifferent. And I think that's exactly right. You know, this idea of radical connection relates to radical vulnerability, radical feelism, as Dallas Clayton says. And I actually just hosted a retreat in Bali with my friend Andrea, and that was yeah, man, it was cool. It was like sold out up in this beautiful resort in the north, and like one of the core things that we were trying to get across from day one, from moment one, was like, this is a safe place. This is a place where you can be yourself, where you can just like open your heart and your soul and just be real. And then in addition to that, this is a place where we don't judge. You know what I mean? Like we accept, like we recognize that we all have our own issues, that we're all transforming, that we're all moving and shaking, that like, welcome. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it was amazing. Life-changing. Goosebumps, man.
Imagine the whole world like that.
Exactly, man. And so, yeah, that was the idea of like, you know, you change some people, we change each other, and then you go off and you've got these little pockets of resistance in this world, this battle for truth, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, and it was fucking rad. Loved it.
How have you been exploring that journey with yourself? Like the vulnerability. You see, it's not a conversation that I see a lot of men having just yet, but I think it's a conversation a lot of men want to have. They have 12 beers. All of a sudden they're like, man, I love you. Fucking, you know what I mean? Like Australian culture.
Yeah.
Like men are really one another, but then it's like put up these walls. They're like, hey, man, what's going on, you know?
Exactly. I totally agree with you, man. I totally agree with you. And like, to me, it just got to the point where I was so fucking tired of the walls, you know, like where it hurt more to stay in than it did to risk jumping out, or whatever that cliche is about the flower budding or whatever. So for me, it was like, as a man who's sensitive, as a man who feels things and thinks things differently, I always felt different. You know, I always felt like an outsider, an ostracized of sorts. And then I just longed to read the word. I longed to write the words that I want to read. Is sort of how it happened. You know, it's like I wasn't getting the message that I felt. And so at some point I was like, fuck it, I'm going to start writing it myself, you know, and like see what happens. And so I started opening up about love and relationships and, you know, my family issues and like my own truths and my desire to spread kindness in the world. And that was kind of what led to all of this, you know, is just that initial like overcoming of the fear and terror of being judged by the world and just being like, fuck it, I don't care. I'm putting this out there because I think this needs to be seen.
I like it.
I don't know, man. And then from there, it's just a perpetual challenge. I view it as like a game to like perpetually challenge myself to share more deeply, share more intimately. And so, for example, like on social media or the articles that I write, like if I'm not scared to share it, then I feel like then I'm doing myself a disservice. And in doing that, I'm doing the reader a disservice because it's not as real and as pure and as true as it could be, I guess.
It's so nice to share, you know, your private journal entries.
Yeah.
I've been doing that. I read Elizabeth Gilchrist recently. She wrote Eat, Pray, Love. And she's
Elizabeth
similar thing. Like she wrote it for herself.
Mm-hmm.
And
man.
She also talks about this idea, which I've been tuning into a lot, where it's like these ideas are flowing through and you kind of grab it and you express it. She talked about with one of her friends, she had an idea for a book, and then life got in the way, and then 2 years later the idea wasn't there anymore. She kept trying to express it.
Yeah.
It wasn't there, and then she met another woman who she was friends with, kissed this woman, and I think that's when the energy transferred. And then this other woman had almost the exact same idea and wrote about it too, like almost best friends. It's interesting. Where do you feel the ideas? Where do you feel the ideas and inspirations are coming from?
Oh man, that is such a good question. But I read Big Magic as well and loved that book. And that
I only read a few pages, but
she's a rock star, man. She's given some good TED Talks as well that are worth checking out.
Yeah.
So where does inspiration come from? Man, I don't know. It's like I liked her idea that inspiration is just sort of like this whimsical fairy that's always around and occasionally it lands on your shoulder. And you have to notice it. And that would, therefore explain why when I'm doing push-ups, something like a random quote will come in my head and I'll have to stop and like put it in my phone, or I'm going for a walk or in the shower, and it's just like, or I'll be going on a drive into uni in the morning and be like, oh fuck, like I've never thought of that before. Like, where does that come from? That's divine intuition. But I do think that creative thinking and creative expression is like a muscle that you can train, that you can like focus, that you can work on. And if you sit down diligently every day and you strive to become like more sort of like treating life like a scavenger hunt, and there's hidden treasures everywhere, just in the walls and the lights and everything, and you start to pick up on these little subtleties, and then eventually your brain, when you're not even thinking about it, just puts all this shit together and it's like, oh look, like art, beauty, an idea, you know what I mean? And then suddenly you're like, whoa, holy shit. Like, I don't know, man. I love it though. Like those moments when the light bulb goes off, it's just like, whoa. Yeah. Cool, man. I don't know. I wish I knew. I wish somebody could bottle that shit and sell it.
It's a fun one if you could just put that in your drinking water every day. I found though, I've been doing it lately where micro commitment, because I've got a bunch of daily practices, things that I do almost every day. And I might not do the exact same order, rituals and things. Every time I do these videos, I'm drinking water. I want to highlight that to people. This one's got some fiber in it, some green stuff. But now I'm doing 15 minutes a day where I write. And I missed it 2 nights ago. I missed it. I was in bed 11 o'clock and I jumped out of bed and I was like, I have to write this. 15 minutes a day. Something always happens. It's like, it is a muscle.
I totally agree with you. And I think also just specifically the power of writing, literally writing things out, getting your thoughts into the world, getting your feelings and fears out into the world is one of the most powerful things possible. Like, it's changed my life. And that was actually a core part of the retreat that we led as well. My friend Andrea, her big thing is like write every day, write every damn day. And it becomes like a habit, and then when you miss your habits, it's like if you forget to brush your teeth one night, it's just like something's not right. Something's not right. Like so I get that too. I'm like, I gotta write. Like I miss. Like I write on this is me typing, writing. Like I miss that feeling, like I just gotta move my fingers. And it becomes part of living, and then that living becomes part of the cycle of like you creating your art, and then your art creates your life, and then et cetera, and you're spinning, away you go.
It's fun.
Exactly, man. We're escalating, like a cyclone. The storms just get bigger and wilder.
I like that, but it starts with that little.
Yeah, man. I totally agree with you. Those little rituals are key.
So let me ask you about some of yours.
Yeah. Some of my rituals.
Yeah. What do you got? I'm always curious because I always like adding more to mine. If I
man,
got some respect for someone, I'll always ask them what they have. And then if anything's going to add some flavor to my life, I'm definitely going to add it. And I'll always share it with my family, with the people I'm mentoring right now. And the powerful thing.
I totally agree with you, man. Like I'm always just like a magnet for new ideas and like new life hacks, new ways of doing things. Some of my own rituals, like I've stolen from the guys that know better than I do, So people like Robin Sharma, business coaches, life coaches. I've been listening to Tim Ferriss podcasts a lot lately, and so on my own, right? So Robin Sharma, I think, says that if you win the morning, you win the day. And so I've been really focusing on the mornings of like before I get out of bed, like what's my intention for the day? Like how's the day gonna go? Like before I start work, what are the 3 things that I have to get done today? So in the mornings, like I hydrate, I drink a lot of water, I do a workout, like I get a sweat going, get the body going. Lately I've been trying to journal in the morning, even 5 minutes, journal in the morning, and then like a meditation to try to get my head like to get it clear, decluttered. So that's mostly my rituals are in the morning of just like trying to get my head straight. Because sometimes I'll just wake up in a funk, you know, I'm just hating the world and like pissed off. And so it's a battle to fight that off and like put myself in a good headspace, you know?
Yeah, man. Do you ever have it on Mondays?
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know. I try to live my life where like Mondays are like just another day, I suppose. Like, I think that's one of the problems in the world is that we like glorify weekends, you know? And like not realize like Monday to Friday, that's, you know, what, 5 out of 7 days of your life, you know, days of your week, you know, those are weekends, those are potential weekends, you know? So, but yes, I have it on Mondays sometimes, man, where it's like, oh, fuck, like I have to do this. So that's the other thing I've been trying to do is change language, you know? So for example, like, oh, I have to write this report. And I just change that to like, I get to write that report. It makes it more like a blessing, an opportunity, you know? Or like I have work hard, like I have to make it happen versus like, I'm going to allow it to happen, you know? Sort of what you're into. Like, just let it flow, man. Like, let it be easy. So like ease is the new one that I've been trying to focus on of like, follow the easy path, so to speak, I guess. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm just rambling along.
I like to put wow on the front of those things. Like, wow, I get to do this. Like every day, even if I'm there, like I'll jump on some of the interviews and stuff. And if I'm having a tough day, I'm not going to hide it. If I'm jumping on stage and I'm having a tough day, that's the vulnerability and intimacy. But things I'll do is like, wow, I get to live this way. Wow, I get to work out. Wow, I get to call this person. Wow, Wow, I get to do my tax. Wow, I get to do my admin, all those things, and learning to love the whole thing.
I absolutely agree with you. Like two of my core things that I continually try to bring myself back to is this idea of appreciation and perspective of like, fuck, like I survived the night, you know, like the most basic truths of like, I have fingers, like I have things in my head that I can see light. And furthermore, I can appreciate beauty, like just the most subtle things of like my lungs are bringing me air that helps fuel my body. And like, I can taste food and like, once you focus on those tiny, tiny miracles, then like the big stuff is just a bonus, you know?
Yeah, man.
You know, like I'm staring behind you at this, like you're like living in a rainforest, and I keep trying to zone out and be like,
look at this. Dang,
yeah, you're like surrounded by this living ecosystem. It's just insane. Look at that shit.
It's rad. I'll show you from up the top. 1 second. I know we do this in the interviews, but I'm like, you got to see it. Sorry for making you guys dizzy watching this. 1 sec. You ready? Look at that.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
So good.
Yeah. So I think the challenge with life is just trying to make myself and yourself and everybody just realize that we are sincerely blessed. You know, like we forget that living as easy as we do, that our lives are just incredibly easy. Like, for example, this morning I got like clean hot water with the push of a button that I can make a tea with, you know?
It's so
like,
good.
What? Like that's mind-boggling. I can flip a switch and like have a machine that makes ice for me, like in my kitchen. Like how easy is life? Like how ridiculous is that stuff?
It's pretty freaking phenomenal, man.
Right? Like, so just trying to like focus on that mindfulness of bringing those truths back into my brain. Like when I get frustrated that the internet's slow, it's like, wait, like I have the internet, man. Like that's crazy. Like that's just like in my pocket is every fact that's ever been known in humanity. Like literally in my pocket. That's fucking mental. And like maybe my internet breaks once in a while. No big deal. You know?
Wild time to be alive. What I love is this though. You know when we can apply our attention to things when we think there's something wrong? The other night I was doing Zoom with my crew that I do, like the M55 group. Yeah. I couldn't even use Facebook. That's how slow the internet was. And somehow, as a collective, we came together and we go, it's going to work. We plugged into Zoom. Zoom uses a bit of bandwidth. We couldn't even use Facebook. That's how slow the internet was.
Yeah.
And we did the hour and 10 minutes on the phone together on Zoom. At the end of it, it died. That's the land I want to live in, my friend. And if I got to pay attention and live in that dream time, I'm always curious about this. A lot of people, you know, traditional personal development, they want us to like fix, change, and improve what already exists. But I'm into the dream time and the space. I'm not sure if that's something you've contemplated a bit, but I'm guessing you have. You know, we live in this land, which was the traditional custodians of this land. They were so connected, so divinely orchestrated, and had so much intelligence and wisdom. And I've been endeavoring, I love the guys like Nikola Tesla and Rudolf Einstein and these philosophers or geniuses that came before us, that we can access more information. And I've been curious about this with this land. Since you've been living in Australia, have you started to connect in with that and found some inspiration?
Let's see. Yes is the short answer. Yes. I'm a big fan of like indigenous cultures, indigenous traditions. And I've, through my work at uni, I've helped on a few different programs related to indigenous tourism in Australia. So we go and hang out with Aboriginal men, hear stories, go to the sacred sites, and there's something there, there's something there. And I've read a lot of Daniel Quinn. You read him? He wrote Ishmael and things, but he talks a lot about this, that, the problems in the world are not related to man, they're related to culture. And that despite our differences, pretty much the entire world has one culture, like we're materialistic, we consume. And so he calls us takers. So whether you're from Japan or Mexico or Brazil, whatever, like we have an economy, we have jobs, we're takers. And where he compares indigenous cultures, traditional knowledge, those are the givers, right? So they live sustainably with the earth. They took, but they also gave back, and they have those rich traditions. And there's some of that like inherent connectivity to the greater source, to the greater truth. And they feel inherently connected to that. And there's some real strength there, I think, in feeling part of spirit and not being caught up in all of the day-to-day things that society has created to divide us. As simple as, lines on a map. Like, what is that? Like, because of where you're born, you're different. Like, we're all fucking miracles, straight up. I mean, truth. And we're all connected. We're all 99.9% the same according to science, So I'm fascinated by indigenous culture. I'm fascinated by the ways that they view experience, by the stories they've created to explain these huge, huge truths that we struggle to understand as modern man with modern tools.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I try to, I perpetually feel like I'm reminding myself when I catch myself in these sort of traps, these life traps of thinking or feeling, sort of go back to that of like, no, there's something more to that, and just training myself to feel, to get out of my head of all the thoughts and ideas that I've learned through the years, and just trying to go with heart and soul and actually, what feels right. So it's a process.
I'm curious to do 3-month intervals in my lifetime where I just go and hang out with tribes.
Like legit tribes.
Yeah, like
or tribes of your own creation.
Oh, it could be, but like literally just these tribes where it's all just people still living off the land, whether it's in the Amazon or Africa, or even if there's some people still in Australia doing that. I had a friend of mine did it for 6 months where he lived on his own in the Blue Mountains in Sydney. For 6 months, he would come out every 2 to 3 weeks, and he would go to the backpackers, and he didn't even have to talk to anyone, but the girls are like, you, come here. He's just so in his masculine and his energy. He's just like, he didn't even have to say anything. It was just like everyone was attracted to his energy. He had the magnetism. Yeah. And then he spent 6 months in there. After he left, he built a business to about $5 million almost effortlessly. He was so tuned in, so connected. Everyone's like, how'd you do it? But he switched off all the thoughts. And he was just, heart, body, and intimately connected, which is something I'm curious about, because I was the kid at school that I did very well at school, but I'll always look out the window. And then the teacher would ask me to answer a question. I'd just be like, bing, whatever it is. And I've kind of been that my whole life, where I'm like pondering things. I can still be here, but I'm kind of out here in the space, like going, there's so much more than everyone's fucking talking about. Are we allowed to talk about other stuff?
Totally, man. I'm that person as well, man. Like, I've been called a space cadet, an astronaut. Like, even girls I've dated, people in my family, they get frustrated because they'll be trying to talk to me, and then suddenly, like, I'm out with the stars, just like hearing nothing's going in and out. I'm lost in my own daydreams, and I totally relate to that, man. Like, from a very early age, I felt different. I felt like I was thinking things differently. From a very early age, I recall just questioning life. Of just like, why do we have to do that? Like the normal stuff, like a kid in school, you're sort of like, why do I have to learn about fucking geometry? But I don't have to learn about like how to love a partner, or like how to communicate honestly, or like just simple shit. Like, why aren't you teaching me how to do taxes? Like, but like, you know, you're memorizing vocabulary words and like, I get the value of that. I'm not against science. Obviously I study science, but like, I just feel like there's so much more to life than this thin veneer that this culturally approved of dogma that we're allowed to touch upon day to day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Would you ever go and do it? Spend a bunch of time on your own in nature?
Yeah. I mean, I'm a fan of nature. I'm a big fan of nature. I like going out in the wilderness. I like doing hikes. I like camping. I like all that stuff. And I've sort of sought, like, I like the idea of that. Yes, I would love to go live with some tribes. And I've sort of, through traveling, I think I've kind of tried to get at that. Like I lived in the South Pacific for 2.5 years, just like literally like in a shack on the beach. Like I've traveled through Africa. I've done Southeast Asia. I used to live in Thailand. So like I'm curious, you know, like I'm a seeker. Like I think that's why I like science, trying to understand the world around me, but then also getting into writing and art and trying to understand it from a different perspective, which comes from heart and, you know, maybe the other half of the brain, spirit. Yeah, man, always wondering, always open for ideas and adventure for sure. We can just do it together, man. Just go to the Amazon or some shit.
Fuck yeah. Put that preference out there, because it happens, man. As soon as we say something, yeah. I'm living in Cairns from an idea I had probably 8 to 10 years ago. I'm going to live in Cairns. I came here on a holiday with a previous partner.
Yeah.
So I'm going to live here one day.
Yeah.
And here I am.
Yeah,
I just
man.
get the map and I look at something. I've been doing it lately where I'm in my meditation. I'll tune in. I started seeing a place called Brewtown the other day.
Bhutan, yeah, man.
You heard about Bhutan?
Yeah, they have a national happiness index, I think.
Fuck yeah, it's cool, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, or Nepal. It might be Nepal. One of them.
No, Bhutan.
There's a Bhutan. Yeah. So yeah, exactly that. Like doing things differently, like not measuring the progress of a nation by how much GDP we have or what the economic prosperity is, but actually like how happy is people? Like how happy are we? Like what greater indicator of intelligence and progress than happiness and simple joys and connection? Seems like they're onto something.
You know, when you go to Thailand or Bali, people are just stoked. Like everyone else is talking about how they only make $3 a day or $5 a day. You go to Bangkok and they're in the city and people make bank now. You go to China in the cities, people making bank. But it's almost like they're like the Western world. Like everyone's just like this, like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just wandering through. Almost like fucking robots.
Yeah, man. I agree. And then like part of why I like traveling is to avoid those major cities. Like you go to all the big cities, go to Sydney, Paris, New York, LA. It's all the same, man. It's very cold. It's very, there's a lot of distance between people. Even, you know, you go and say hi to people on the street and there's a caution, you know, there's a fear. Sort of, they keep you at arm's length instinctively of like, and it's so pervasive as to be normal that most people don't even realize that anymore. Or they'll even say things like, man, that guy just said hi to me randomly. Like, what a weirdo. Like not recognizing that's nothing wrong with that's actually pretty cool. And yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
It's fun. So what are some of your things when you look at your vision right now for the next 5 years? Oh, actually, first question I want to know is this. I had a lot of people tell me to do a PhD. I'm one of those kids. I don't like being told what to do. I'm like, fuck off. I'll do whatever the fuck I want. I'm learning to let go. I'm a bit of a disruptor. Always have been, like innovative and disruptor and entrepreneur. But I'm curious, how did you feel called to a PhD? Where did that come from?
I felt called. So I've studied science, you know, my whole life. So I did marine biology. I worked at the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park Authority. I've worked around town. My passion is conservation. So trying to encourage sustainability, get people safe in the oceans. I love the ocean. I love the beach. I love swimming around with the snorkel mask on. And so I was working in that field for like 10 years or so. And sort of it hit that glass ceiling of sorts of like my qualifications, my skill level. And the PhD seemed like the next big thing. It seemed like a huge, scary challenge. It seemed hard. And I felt like I would learn a lot about myself and the world. Yeah. And so I was just like, sign me up. And then I got to come back to Australia for a couple of years, you know, so that got around the visa issue for me. And but I totally relate to what you just described about being like, not being told, like, being told what to do. Like I grew up in the LA punk rock scene of just like that whole mentality, like chip on my shoulder, like, don't you fucking tell me what to do. And so I've struggled with that. And I still struggle with that in terms of like Like, no, I don't want to write that paper by that deadline. Like, I want to write it when I want to write it. And like, no, I don't want to sit in this cubicle all day. I want to go to Bali and write from Bali. And so it's created some interesting dynamics between me and my supervisors, because deep down, I don't want a supervisor, you know, like I would like a mentor that I can bug, but I don't want to be told what to do or how to do it. And, but with that, there comes the flip side of the argument is like that acceptance of like, I have more to learn, you know, and like, what is that resistance teaching me? Where does that come from? So it's been one of the most enlightening experiences in my life in terms of self-growth, self-discipline, all that good stuff. But I'm ready to be done, man, for sure.
It's such a funny one when we have that element. I had it last year. I was feeling called to start doing group stuff online.
Yeah.
And that literally means my commitment level is a little bit of time online each day, and then a weekly, you know, maybe 2 weekly webinars, 2 or 3. Yeah. It's 3 hours of a week of my life that I have to be somewhere at a particular time. And my ultimate value is freedom. And it's interesting because that used to tangle with me. I've got a lot more peace with it now, but it's almost like I just want to wake up, do what I want whenever I want without having to say yes or no to anything. But I've just kind of found my way in it lately, where these little commitments make a bigger impact.
Yeah. There's a quote that I love, which is that discipline is liberation. You know, so discipline is freedom. And so the more disciplined you can be with your time, the more you can get done in the shortest amount of time, the more time you have to go about and go to the beach and just go have a cocktail and fuck around with the world. And so I've taken that to heart as well. Of like, these things that I'm doing enable me to do X, Y, and Z of what I really want to do, you know? And so in that way, you view them as opportunities, not as obligations. And I think there's real power in that. It's worked for me, at least. It's helped me out.
Yeah, I could just find these different things in there. So next question I want to ask you is this: momentum.
Yeah. Momentum.
Yeah, what's momentum to you? A lot of people have different things. It's just a word that came up for me.
Yeah.
My definition is pretty different to most people's, I imagine, but I'm curious what you think.
What's your definition?
You got to go first.
All right. Momentum. Momentum to me is like feeling like I'm on the right path, feeling like everything's working out, like that the effort is realizing rewards, that it's all good, that feels easy, that I feel confident, I feel capable, I feel like things are going to work out. So it's a lot of internal dialogue with yourself, I think. It's about optimism, it's about belief, it's about all those good things. Yeah, in a way, I feel like momentum is ease. You know, like you're getting where you want to go, and it's just working out. You know, like people are helping you, doors are opening, opportunities are presenting themselves. That's momentum to me.
I like that.
Yeah.
So I was.
What about you? What's your definition?
For me, it's like this. Like momentum came up to me like this. I love yours though. Like just doors are open, feeling called, different things. I think it's rad. Because a lot of people think of it like it's just a fucking steamroller down the highway.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like that's like old school personal development where you kind of force your way through life. But for me, momentum's more like, you know, when you see a pod of dolphins swimming around?
Yes.
And they're playing their way around the world. And even though they might have just swum 1,000 kilometers, they're not going, fuck, I got another 5 kilometers to go. You're like, wow, look at that. Look at this. Look at this. Wow. How cool is life? I'm gonna go play in that wave. I'm gonna go have a little snack over here, make a little love over here. I'm gonna make some of the cool dolphin sounds. And I've been using that metaphor recently. The fucking cool thing is this: what I noticed when I paid attention to things. I don't know if I was a dolphin in a past life or what's going on, but every time I put on a project that gives me the goosebumps that I feel in alignment with, there's dolphins there, even when it's out of season. Even when people go, there's never dolphins there this time of year, I'll direct the group to a particular beach at a particular time. We'll be there. And then next thing, the whole group on a project down the South Coast, like Sustainable Van, there's dolphins swimming around us. We had it where I did our Cairns business networking recently. There was dolphins there. When Paul, who you know from Townsville, came up to visit, we went down the beach. Instead of going right like we normally do, we went to the left. And we saw this little fly fish. And we thought, that fish is cute. It's like zipping along and flying through the air and stuff. And then we realized it was being chased by a dolphin. We thought it was having the best day ever, just like skipping through, and we realized it's trying for its life to get away. So I think,
nice, man.
I think ours is very similar, to be honest.
Yeah, can I add to that? Actually, you've given me an idea. So I think also that going back to that perspective and appreciation that I'm quasi obsessed with, that I think momentum also relates to just progress. You know, like we lose sight of how far we've come, of how much we know, of all the things that we've done in life. And if you think back even, you know, a year ago, 5 years ago, to who you were and what you thought and how you experienced the world, like even all of the hurt and pain and sorrow, those have taught us so much. And those experiences are inherently valuable and beautiful. And so like that momentum is inherent in us. I keep using that word inherent, but like that momentum is part of who we are. Like just survival is momentum, you know, like each step that you take, each morning that you wake, like that is momentum. Like just the aspect of continuing to live, to me, at its most simple level, is like, yeah, you've got some force behind you.
I like it. Yeah. That guidance or whatever it is, you just know.
Yeah, it's happening. You know, you just feel it. It's happening. It's a choice.
I had that with Brewtown the other day. I'm sitting there and I got a bit frustrated in the last few weeks. It's like I'm butting up against things like, fuck. And every time I'm like that, I know there's something greater above it. So don't worry. A lot of people are like, just change your state. Just feel good, man. Just like move away from it. And all I know for me, this could be different for you guys watching and for anyone else, but all I know is this for me is if I'm getting frustrated, there's either a lie in the space or there's some clarity that I got to have, or there's a breakthrough about to happen. And I slow it down to speed up and I look at things intimately. And I just realized that I was just looking at things from a slightly different perspective of where I actually was, the frequency of where I was playing at now. And when I slowed it down, all of a sudden I noticed that Brewtown popped into my mind. So I started Googling it. Then I had a feeling to call my friend who I do a number of projects with around the world. And he had a chat with him. He goes, yeah, I'm feeling it too. And actually, we're already booked to go. It's happening in January.
Serious?
Yeah, because I was just sitting there in the space and the meditation going there. Then he started, I was dreaming about people I'm going to meet in California last night and the night before. It was interesting. I just approached someone, I sent her a message and two that I was feeling called to connect with. And with this friend, he was talking to me about this place that he kept visualizing and seeing in his mind when he meditated and when he slowed down. And at first he thought it was Whitsunday Islands. Then he realized there's a place up in the Daintree. Past the Daintree, past Cooktown, up near Weipa, there's this huge property that's a space that's being kept by the traditional owners of the land. And people like Steve Irwin, they're able to go and stay there. Like the traditional owners allow people like Steve Irwin and his family to be part of that. Even though Steve Irwin's left now. But you know those guys at school that like just like, what the fuck are we doing here? Some of those guys have been taken to the property to be schooled and educated, one in the traditional thing that we do in terms of Australian education, plus whatever the indigenous bush medicine and traditions are. And these guys all end up being university professors and PhD students and very well educated, even though they haven't done the standard definition of schooling. And it had me very curious to check out the place because this gentleman was telling me about it the other day. Then my friend in the space had seen this place. He's like, I'm seeing a place and it's up there somewhere. And I just met a guy who was telling me about it. And I'm wondering, what is this freaking serendipitous, universal, synchronous mind that all of a sudden stuff's happening? So interesting, man.
Don't know. That's the beauty of it, isn't it? Yeah.
Don't need to know.
Yeah, your little rant there reminded me of this quote that I love, which is anger is just a reminder that there's more to learn. You know, so like I feel that I try to remind myself of that. Like if I wake up in a bad mood or I interact with someone that's just a jerk, you know, with those negative emotions, it's like, there's more to learn. You know, it's an opportunity for growth. It's a lesson waiting to be held and heard. Yeah.
I'm going to borrow that one from you. There's more to learn.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't say it. I found it somewhere. Who knows? Maybe I read it. I don't know. I forget. Yeah. Anger is a reminder there's more to learn. I think of that too. Another thing I do is like when I get people that are pissed off at me or upset or trying to like spread that negativity to me and I'm feeling great, I'll just, in my head, I'll be like, if I get angry, they win. Like if I get angry, they win. If I get angry, they win. It's like a mantra. It calms me down a bit. I guess you could flip that to like nothing but love, whatever, you know? Just try to stay. It's about like trying to stay grounded. Like, that's cool. That's fine. I get that. I do that a lot. Some of my markets, you know, and I have stuff with profanity and things on them, fuck words, shit things. And like occasionally, you know, people give me some heat for that. And I get that, you know, and they have their own views. And I mean, at first it really offended me, you know, because that's my art, you know, I took pride in that. And then it became more of like, no, that's just a thing. And that's a thing in its own place in the world. That's not actually who I am or what I'm about. So it became like a third party. And then I realized it's sort of like everything's a third party, right? That like people don't do things to me, they just do things, and I can choose to react in any way I want. It's sort of about finding your power in the world and how you respond and how you react. And it's just an ongoing process, really. Like I'm always saying like I'm on my way, you know, like I'm on my way, I'm trying.
I had a guy I was chatting to yesterday. He owns this canned sports performance clinic, and it'll track how your brainwaves are and look at new neural pathways and things. But he's there like, oh yeah, we're just doing this, and you know, one day it'll be big. You know, one day you're going to be on like Oprah, or one day you're going to be on Ellen, or one day blah blah blah. I'm like, this is the fucking one day, man. All the practice, even when I'm on Oprah, that's still practice. I'm still. If that's the case, if I'm called to be on that, I'll fucking do it. But it's still a practice.
Yeah.
I don't want to make anything significant, because otherwise there's this one day where we're going to make it instead of for the rest of our life. It's shit. But then one day, all of a sudden, there's one magical day. We have about 17 minutes. We're like, fuck yeah, I did it. And the rest of our life was like the road there.
Yeah. And then what happens after, you know? Like if your dream is to publish an international best-selling book, you know, and you do that. So Liz Gilbert actually talks about this, how her career peaked after Eat, Pray, Love. She was just like, well, what now? Like, I will never match that level of success. Literally, you know, I've peaked. And so now what? And so you set new goals, you discover new things about yourself, a new mindset and a healthier mindset to realize that those things are likely to happen or they will happen. And that like, you need a greater purpose than just those singular events, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I feel that, man.
Yeah.
Cool. So I'm going to hit with your final comment, because we've got about 2 minutes left.
Okay.
Final words of inspiration for the Lifetarian family, the pods of dolphins around the world, the game, the next level, magic, infinite possibility, momentum makers.
Fuck, man. Just be kind. Just be kind to each other and to yourself, more importantly.
Yeah,
I think that's my message, man. Just be kind. Just be kind. That's what I'm about.
I like that. It's a cool mantra. If we could just do that every day, man, life would be friggin' awesome.
Yeah. No, just be fucking kind. That'll make it more like long distance love bomb style. Yeah. Be fucking kind to each other.
I'll post Jeremy's details below this so you guys can see it. Some details along this love bomb so you guys can stay connected. But my friend, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on here. I'm going to see you real soon. Because
man,
I didn't say that with the Dolphins. We all bump into each other. And Jeremy's someone who I met via another friend, Amanda, at one of her events. And then you just bumped into us, you know, just happened to be walking out and about. And the next thing we all bump into each other. And next thing we bump into each other. And
then we're at my house in the pouring rain.
That was fun.
Yeah. Wow, man. No, it's been great to chat, man. I appreciate the opportunity. It's always good to see your face.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bam.